AI is biased. It is biased. It is the second of its original sins. Left on its own, AI will be biased. We have to guard against it. It's very hard to guard against it, as I'm sure everybody here knows. But we can ask, okay, well, why is it biased? We're told this, and then it's explained to us why it's biased, because data tends to reflect societal biases and the like. And what we hear from this is, oh, we get to select the data? So data is human stuff. It's not a readout of the world. It's not the facts about the world. Facts aren't exactly facts either, different topic. It's stuff that we decide. Data is stuff that we read off of meters that we have decided to plant. Where and why and to what degree of accuracy and what we do with the data are all human decisions. If I say data is human stuff, I don't mean it's unreliable, but I sort of mean it's unreliable, that there's a human element of decision which includes unconscious biases. And occasionally conscious, but generally the issue in AI is unconscious, unaware biases of what's going on, how what we're doing might be taken in any of the 38 other countries, other than the one that we happen to be in right now, for example. Data is human stuff, obviously. Okay, so how does that lead to anything? Well, it may be that in the discussion of bias, we get to the point of proxies, because the first response is, well, then just don't record. If you're worried about bias against women or whatever protected class or whatever you want to call it, then don't have a column for women. And then you have to explain, well, no, but there are proxies for women in this case. Proxies are really interesting, at least I think so, in part because proxies work by putting shape around the whole, the thing you're trying not to have affect it's like the missing piece in the jigsaw puzzle. You can see what that shape is, and that becomes, in a sense, part of the data. I know I'm not putting this technically correctly, but I'm trying to talk about how this will perhaps appear to people who are not technical. And there are only proxies because things are so interrelated. They're so interrelated that the absence of something can be the presence of something. That's maybe one way through this fear, justifiable and terrible and correctly terrible fear bias. You don't have to, I got myself started on it. I'm going to back away from it. The explanation of it, the understanding of the first question, well, why is there bias? Why can't you just lead you to understand the deep, deep, multidimensional interrelationship of all of the data and all of the world? So if we ask what the original question of this talk, which is, if tech casts light and shadow on the world, can we think about how our world is already beginning to look in the light of this change in data? So, way too short what I'm about to say, I understand that, but it's just to give you a sense of it. So if you look at an enterprise in light of particulars, I think that we begin to see black swan. You all know black swans. Do you all know black swans? The unexpected things that happen, drop out of the sky and destroy a supplier's factory in your supply chain, and suddenly your business is in great danger. Literal lightning struck. Yes, that's right. There are black swans, but looked at in this light, in the light of AI and data, everything's a black swan. That's the nature of particulars. It's not just the big events. Everything that happens is a mashup of everything that happens all at once. So everything's a black swan, except some things are butterflies in the chaos theory sense, in which a butterfly alights on a plant in Brazil and triggers a tornado in Kansas, right? The standard example. It seems pretty implausible, but the idea is very validated in sound, which is that a small event can create cascades by which it picks up energy and has surprising and important results. And by the way, it's really hard to go backwards from the tornado to pin it on that damn butterfly and sort of pin it to a wall for what it did. Often that's what we're trying to do with AI, to understand it. Okay, so More specifically, but still not very specific, this sort of thinking, I would imagine, should have important effects on really important business topics beyond pinning butterflies, including strategy, obviously. If we're living in this sort of chaotic world in which each particular affects every other throughout the universe, basically, then strategic thinking takes on a different tone. Especially in terms of it's committing people to long-term strategies. Design of products, managing people, all of these things.